Alright, you know what? Magicians and lay people alike all talk about finding the 4 aces. So today, I'm going to do it for real. In order to find the 4 aces, I begin by shuffling the deck thoroughly, just like this. So we shuffle the deck, and what I now do is that I actually take the cards, I give them a cut, and I should have been able to find the first ace, the ace of diamonds. For the second ace, all I have to do, give the cards a few shuffles, maybe give them a couple cuts as well, and flip the cards. I should be able to find our second ace, the ace of hearts. For the final ace, well, not the final ace, but the third ace, all I have to do is take the cards, shuffle them, give them a few cuts, and maybe give them a couple more shuffles, and then simply give them a quick cut. And now if I spin the cards, we should be able to find one more ace, the ace of clubs. Now, obviously, we have the aces mixed into the deck. And I want you to pay attention to where that final ace, the ace of spades, is in the deck. In fact, I would say that ace is about, I don't know, maybe 20, 30 cards down maybe, and I should be able to cut maybe to it, maybe give it 1, 2 shuffles, and by giving it these shuffles, I should be able to find back at the top that fourth and final ace, the ace of, well, not the king of clubs, but we can actually fix it, because see, the king of clubs might, it doesn't exactly look like the ace, but it can do a pretty good job if you know what to do. All you have to do is give it a little bit of a rub, go like that, and it looks a lot like the ace of spades. And that is finding all 4 aces. Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. My name is Josiah, and I'm really excited for today's video because today I'm going to take a little bit of a veer in a different direction. What I was originally planning for what I was going to do today kind of changed. Originally I thought I was going to film a review first, upload that first, and then I was going to do a quick tutorial for something pretty cool. But you know, as I was looking at my channel, I realized most of what I've taught recently on the channel, aside from the juicier fruit trick, is mainly just changing cards. One card, you know, changing into another, whether it's through, you know, a shake or whatever. And so I thought, you know what, let's just be done with that. And let's do something a little bit different, a little bit on another level. And so I decided, you know what we learned in the last video is going to work really well with this trick. And so I kind of improvised this into a 4 aces routine, where you find the 4 aces out of a shuffled deck, and with the final ace, you mess up. But you rub it, and you get the last ace. So I'm pretty excited for it. I hope you are too. So without further ado, let's get right into it. Alright, for this tutorial, I'm going to be using what is called the Vegas playing cards by I Don't Know. But no, seriously though, it's not I Don't Know. I just don't know who created it. But it's kind of a cool deck. I think the back design is pretty cool. It's a pretty cool borderless design. Not the highest quality, but definitely I still like the back design. So, and I thought for this video it'd be pretty appropriate. Alright, so taking a quick, well, not a quick, but a look at this. Basically, obviously what happens is that before the trick begins, you need to get your 4 aces out, and you want to set them up. Now, they don't have to be in any specific order. I like to put the ace of spades last just because, you know, it makes for a nice feeling of ending to the end of the trick. And all you do is you take those aces, you slap them on top of the deck, and you square up the deck, and you're ready to go for the trick. Alright, so to start off with this trick, what you're going to begin by doing is you want to start by giving the deck some shuffles and some cuts. But the key throughout this trick is to keep those aces on top. So the way we do that is when we shuffle the cards, we're giving them some standard riffle shuffles, and I'll leave a link down below to where you can learn this riffle shuffle super easy. And basically all that happens here, I'm going to get up on my knees so to teach you this, is that basically when you shuffle the cards, you're going to shuffle them, but all you're going to do is you're not going to shuffle completely. You're going to stop at one point and leave the top chunk of cards on top, which will ultimately leave those 4 aces on top. And then you square up the deck. And you do the same thing over and over again. So all you do is split the top half to the left, you shuffle, leave the chunk that has the aces on top. And I like to do something, this will take a little bit of practice to get used to, but I like to split the top packet to the right and then the left, just to mix it up, so that it feels like it's genuinely mixing, so that a new card is coming on top each time, which is kind of just an interesting, subtle thing you can do. But as so long as you keep your 4 aces on top of the deck. Now there are some other false cuts you can do, which I'll leave a link to some false cut tutorials down below, some of the ones that I prefer to use. This is a super easy one to do. This is one I learned very quickly. This one, and also this one here, which I'll leave a link to the first one down below as well as some other ones. I don't know if I can teach if anyone teaches this one in just a video, so I'll teach it real quick right now. So basically, all that's happening with that false cut is, here, let me see if I can get a little bit of a back view here. Might not be a perfect view, but basically what happens is you bring the top half of cards, bottom half of cards off, and you bring them around to the front, but what you do is you stick your thumb there to hold a break, and I'll exaggerate that break for the camera so you can see that break hopefully there, where you keep this break here. And from the front, obviously you can't tell there's a break there. But from that break, I just hold that break with my thumb, and what I do is as I'm holding it with my thumb, I just do a double undercut. And we taught the double undercut, but I do a double undercut on the table. So I break off about half of these cards, move to the top, half of these cards, move them to the top. And if you haven't learned the double lift, I'll leave a link to the video where I taught the double lift. No, sorry, not the double lift, the double undercut, which looks like this. And you can just do these double undercuts, okay? I'm not saying you have to do some fancy on-the-table card shuffles. You can just do standard stuff like this if you want. It doesn't really matter as long as you achieve the same end goal. But that's just a double undercut on the table that I'm doing here. Or a triple undercut as well. That works too. Or any number of undercuts. So you do that, and it all just keeps these 4 aces on top. Super duper simple. Now in this case, I accidentally shuffled one of the aces into the middle. And that's one thing you have to make sure of. I wasn't paying close enough attention, so I accidentally shuffled an ace into the middle, but that's okay, okay? This is just what happens when you're practicing, okay? So, you have your 4 aces on top, right? And if you don't, keep practicing until you can do that. And now we break down our phases. So for the first phase, after I've done these false shuffles and false cuts, all I'm going to do is I'm going to do a strip cut. And well, not a strip cut. A strip cut's something different, but a slip cut. All a slip cut is I'm going to cut the cards into 2 packets. And you might reverse this if you're left-handed, but my right hand's going to drag the bottom packet to the right. My left hand draws the top packet to the left. And all I do is when I do this, I use my index finger of my right hand to pull this top card onto that bottom packet. And I do that like this as I break the packets apart. And then I lift this card. And obviously it's the ace because of that slip cut. Sorry, just because of the time of day right now, the sunlight is really messing up my stuff right now. Sorry if you can hear stuff in the background. It's kind of noisy in the house right now. But anyway, once I do that, I set this ace here. And from here, you can just set all these cards back on top. Or you can just give the cards another false shuffle, just like what we talked about before, leaving the top chunk of cards on top. Okay? And now you have 3 of the aces on top. 1 of the aces has already been produced. That's the first phase. The second phase, after doing some more false shuffles and cuts, you're going to do this production. And you have seen this production if you've watched my intros. Every time I do that intro, you will have seen that production in that intro, where I flick a card out in the middle like that. It's kind of a cool production. It's super easy to do though, and I'll leave it face up for the explanation. So obviously the card you're going to produce is on top of the deck, and what you do is it looks like this. And as you can see, although it looks like the card's coming out of the middle, all you're going to do is you're going to lift up about half the cards, and using your index finger, you're going to kind of do a slip cut like we talked about before, but then you're going to let go of it and kind of just let it fly off. And when you do that speed, the card literally flies off. Like, you can do it with enough power. That sailed right past my tripod. So I'm going to have to go get that real quick. So you do that by just flicking it. So I'll leave a link to a more in-depth tutorial for that production down below. So once you've done that production, you show the ace, you set it down. For the next production, this is a production that I'll also leave a link to down below. I'll leave a link to all of this. But basically what we want to do is get this ace to the bottom. So all I do for this is I do the same thing as we did before, where I lift up and get a break, and then I do a double undercut. So I get it to the bottom like this. And now I do a shuffle, where basically what happens is I break the bottom packet to the left here, and I'm going to see if I can get a back view here going. Basically all I do is I begin shuffling. And when I shuffle, I'm going to drop one card from the left hand, and then I'm going to shuffle everything regularly. So that ace is the only card right here on the bottom. So now I pick up the cards and I kind of move them above that card, and I give it a cut like this, and I spin it out. And then I show it. Now I know it sounds super complicated, but I'll leave a link to a tutorial down below for it that teaches it way better. My camera's at low battery right now. Sorry if this is a short tutorial, but I'm trying to keep it short and sweet because I really want you guys to practice going to other places as well to find different things. So this is kind of a thing where you're going to have to go to other places and learn these things. But all these things, they're pretty simple to do, fairly simple. Maybe a few of them more intermediate, but they're fairly simple to do. And now we come to the last phase, the ace. Sorry, the ace is not on top at this point. So what you have to do is you have to spread the cards to find your ace. So you say, I want you to pay attention to where the last ace is. So you look for your ace along with your spectator. You find your ace, and all you do is as you square up, you just kind of stop here at this square point. You square everything else up, and then you square it up, and what you do is you get that pinky break that we've talked about before, where you get a break right there at the back. And then from here, I'd like to kind of riffle up, and I like to riffle, and I like to get one card, and I like to get that ace, my 8 break beneath the ace, and then I do a double undercut, just a regular old double undercut. And that gets this ace to the top. And from here, I just do a double lift after doing some false shuffles, and I do that earned ace color change we talked about in the last video. And that's it. From here, I will do that KM move that I also talked about in that video, and I spread the deck here. I can show my aces very cleanly, and everything's done. That's pretty much it. So yeah. So at this point, you just lean back, you let people take over. And remember, I know it might have been a little bit confusing, but in order to really learn this, what you're going to have to do is you have to go to my description box, and you'll have to click on those videos that I've linked, and I put the title of the video next to it to learn each of these different productions. And that way, you'll be able to ultimately learn the routine. Alright, hopefully you enjoyed that. If you did, please like the video. Remember to subscribe to my channel. Please subscribe, hit the notification bell, all that stuff. And remember, I know I didn't really teach much of anything in this video except kind of showing you it. And the reason for that is because I want you guys to be going to these links and learning these different elements of this production from those links. And yes, also because my camera battery is low, but that's besides the point. Anyway, hope you enjoyed it. Like the video, subscribe, comment if you want to. You don't have to comment. But, I'll see you in the next video. Bye. And don't forget about Camberwell coming February 20th. Stay tuned. Subscribe.